Scooter Shocks, who's going to have an interview with one of the Flash Wolves players.
Thank you very much, guys. We're just chatting here because I just got the note that Sword Art would actually like to introduce himself to the viewers.
Hello everyone, I am Sword Art.
Yeah.
大家好，我是闪电狼的辅助虫虫。
There we go. Sword Art, congratulations. Fantastic victory over SKT. It was just incredibly methodical from the Flash Wolves taking them down, but can you tell me a bit about the communication at the end of the game when you guys realized that you were actually going to beat the world champion?
恭喜你们赢得对 SKT 赢得胜利。那感觉你们是有计划、按部就班的一步一步的打这场比赛。那最后你们要拿下胜利之后，他想必你们沟通上一定很激烈。那可不可以跟我们讲一下你们是怎么讨论，然后拿下这个比赛的？
因为我们觉得其实一开始打 SKT 之前，我们觉得其实胜算是蛮低的，所以我们教练就叫我们就是打得很激进，所以我们就是在很多地方我们都去做1打1、2打2的 play。
So coming in playing SKT, we thought our chances were low, and our coach told us to go really aggressive on them. And so any chances we had 1-on-1, 2-on-2, we went in on them.
A lot of those initiations come from your side, on your Alistar flashing in, calling the team. With Stake now not being in the team to call anymore, has that really improved the way you can call those fights and call those moments?
很多时候团战发现就是你是闪进去，然后开闪现用牛去开战的。那自从牛排离开了闪电狼之后，是不是你 call 的这个责任就更大，然后你就可以做这些 call 呢？
对，就是自从牛排离开之后，我就开始选一些比较重开战性的角色，因为就是我觉得我自己在 call 的时候，如果我可以自己开战的话，会更方便，所以我就比较常玩瑟蕾西牛这种角色。
So since Stake left and I took the main call responsibilities, I decided to take more champs that could initiate the team fights, like Alistar and Thresh, that I could control the fight and I call while I initiate already.
Well, it seems to be working out for you guys. Sword Art, we know the Flash Wolves very well. You did this very well in the group stage of Worlds last year. Now you not only beat your rival AHQ in the LMS, but you also beat the world champion. It seems to me like this is really the year of the Flash Wolves. Do you have a same sentiment?
说你们今年在 LMS Final 击败了 AHQ， 然后现在又击败了世界冠军，感觉上今年是闪电狼的年，你觉得如何呢？
我觉得不太能这么说吧，就是我觉得我们的状况是蛮起起伏伏的，就我们有时候会输外卡，然后有时候也会赢。对，就像我昨天才刚说 CLG 很弱，但我们却输给了他一样。
We can't say that for sure because it really depends on our conditions. Sometimes we're good, sometimes we're not so good. Like last year, we lost to the wildcards, and this year, when I called out CLG, we end up losing to them. So we can't say that for sure.
If you guys stay consistent throughout the group stage and after, do you have a real shot at the title? Is a consistent Flash Wolves the strongest team in the tournament?
如果你们都保持稳定的表现，然后在小组赛打出来，你们觉得你们是不是有机会拿下这次的冠军？
我觉得在刚刚那场结束之后，我的目标就变了。我觉得我们这次一定要拿下冠军。
So after our last match, my goals just changed. We really hope we can win the championship this time.
Well, a fantastic game over SKT to start things off. Thank you so much, Sword Art. Congratulations. The Flash Wolves taking down the world champion. Let's get over to the guys at the desk and close this day out. This crazy day.
Crazy day is absolutely correct. I feel like all bets are off here, 2016 MSI. We had RNG taking out SKT, then the Flash Wolves taking out SKT to make them go, oh,
anyone can do it now.
Right, yeah.
It's not even special anymore,
it's nothing
Dash.
special, right? But you've got Supermassive taking win as well. I mean, this day in and of itself has just proven that nothing is certain, at least so far in this tournament. But breaking down this win, I got to go back to it all because we've theory crafted a million times. How are you going to beat SKT? Well, we've seen 2 examples of it now today. So maybe we can refine our guidebook on how to beat SKT.
I mean, first of all, we were all just wrong here at the test. You know, I got rid of my notes because like they were just plain out wrong. But Flash Wolves, Jad does that too. Thank you. But I think Flash Wolves surprised many of us, and they just got a small advantage here and there. And Sword already said it in his interview. They were not afraid to go aggressive. They had that one combo in the bot lane, for example, that forced Lucian to go back to base and buy a Cull on a longsword into a tier Ezreal and actually give a pretty smooth laning phase for NL instead of like going for the BF sword, going for the hard punish. And I felt SKT was very lackluster in certain aspects.
I think that what we kind of learn as well is that you need to have a scaling aspect to your comp, because even though you can get these advantages, SKT will still make you close it out very, very by the book. So I think that we've seen in both of the games today that even though you can get ahead early, you need to be able to stay ahead, because SKT will draw the game out to at least about 40 minutes. So,
I mean, we saw with like a 3-turret advantage, only a 1.5K gold lead.
And that really surprised me, because if you watch both of these games back, I think that SKT will look at it and be like, we couldn't capitalize on any sideways. We couldn't take any free objectives off the map. Our waves were never set up as a 6th man, as Samsung Blue used to be able to do, and just knock them down by itself. I think that the first 2 turrets that fell, in fact, the first 3 that fell against RNG were all in the mid lane, and this time around they only had 1 bottom outer turret. SKT is just not doing a great job of controlling this part of the map right now.
Yeah, and I also think this serves as a reminder that this is 3/6 of SKT's championship team.
Yes.
Blank did not look very good this game, right? They don't have Marin carrying from the top lane. Duke did as much work as he could and had a very good game, but I don't think it's as synergistic as Marin was. And also, EasyHoon was the best Azir in the world, whereas Faker can be the best player in the world, but he's not at EasyHoon Azir level, and they're attacking that pretty heavily, especially since Blank is struggling in Italy.
I still really like Faker's Azir. He plays it a little bit differently, but I think that a lot of this is that if you hit Azir early, we've seen, and get it behind that 3-item trend because he doesn't get an earlier death cap, then you really do slow the power spike. So I'm not even sure if it's Faker's Azir right now. I just think Azir in general is showing that it is not blind pickable in this tournament.
Yeah, I don't think it's blind pickable and has been punished by assassin picks multiple times, but it's also the fact that he doesn't have the synergy with Blank to be able to blind pick the Azir, right?
I want to get Crepo in here as well.
Just the way that Flash Wolves kind of closed out the game, though, with the 5 Dragon pressure, goes back to the early game where SKT did have those 2 pushing lanes. And Blank, as you said, just wasn't impressive because he opted in going for farm. Yes, it kept the gold lead close. I would have liked to see them actually pick up an early dragon, and that's coming from somebody who hates early dragons generally, because I don't think you can play for 5 dragons, but the meta seems to have slowed down in every single SKT game at least, so I was surprised they didn't go for...
Yeah, of all the regions coming in, though, LCK was the region that most often did go to the 5 dragon.
But there's even more that you can do over that. You can sit, like, Trundle, Nidalee, and Lucian should be able to chip down a turret. Like, you can send the Nidalee into the lanes, just throw spears at it and keep Trundle pillaring. There were ways that they could get gold advantages. They just were not going for them.
They spent as much time clearing the Skullet Crab at one point in the game, I think like 7-8 minutes, that they could have spent on a dragon, at least slow down that potential 5 dragon mark. Because once Flash Wolves got the 5th dragon, I felt like they got a surge of confidence in the game as well, and finally started like taking more and more and more. Eventually led to the Baron control, and that kind of was the final nail in the coffin. Obviously, many mistakes leading up to that point, but I think that was a big, even bigger turning point in the game.
And the double TP came back. TP play came back from the Flash Wolves. That's something that had kind of been missing. That decisiveness out of Sword Art on Alistair, and then the call on the double teleport. So they did elevate their game in this set.
Jat, last thing I want to talk about here is, as Kobe mentioned in the post game, what this does for the rest of the tournament. Not only for this team, but for the rest of the teams. Because again, with Royal Never Give Up topping the table now, but basically teams taking games off of every other team, what does this do for the rest of the tournament?
While this is super crazy and unexpected, it's not like it hasn't happened before. We just even heard Sword Art talking in the interview. They lost to a wildcard team in their group stage. Remember, they also 2-0'd the Tigers in that group stage, so they've beaten Korean teams at international events before.
Yeah.
I still think SKT will adapt. It's surprising they lost 2 games, but they have plenty of time to make up for it.
And after losing to a wildcard team at Worlds, he now called CLG a wildcard team and then lost to them. So a lot of shakeups. And I think the biggest surprise for me is the fact that G2 is now dead last in this tournament, and this is for a team that we kind of predicted, you know, at least I thought was going to be a clear favorite for second.
Well, as we talk about how these teams will be jostling for position, let's take a look at the standings. After 2 days of competition here in Shanghai, the LPL's Royal Never Give Up is sitting atop the tables at 4-0. The LMS's Flash Wolves are right behind them at 3-1. SK Telecom and CLG are tied at 2-2, while G2 Esports are still looking for their first win, and Supermassive sitting right above them at 1-3.
And I am the first person to talk up a Chinese region when they're playing good League of Legends, but I did not expect this after day 2. I don't think anyone in the world called it. RNG finally showed us a clean style of aggressive Chinese League of Legends. I was very happy to see, but now they have to be able to stay with it.
There's going to be that one guy that just like pulls out these power rankings and somehow like hacks the webpage to make it look like he posted a week ago and be like, by the way, SKT is going to be tied
like
for third with CLG.
The one guy that predicted Worlds, right? Out of like...
out of the millions of brackets that were filled out, he's like, I got the perfect bracket.
He did it again, right? He's come back.
He's the one. He's the one who wrote the power rankings article.
Anyway, as it's very clear that we are surprised by the current standings, let's take a look at tomorrow's schedule. G2, well, they'll have a chance to climb tomorrow as they face Supermassive. But first, we'll kick off the day with Flash Wolves versus Royal Never Give Up, and CLG will look to take down the reigning world champs from Korea, SK Telecom, and now they might have a way to do it.
Yeah, and every game is actually even cooler now, because a lot of times when you have a wildcard team, you think, oh man, that game, I don't necessarily want to watch that, but they showed up against CLG, who has beaten Flash Wolves, who has beaten SKT, so if you're passing like a linear title belt around, it goes absolutely everywhere.
And I mean, the context of that match, the fact that they, out of all teams right now, they end up playing against G2 Esports, who are looking for a win. Imagine if they get crushed by the wildcard team. That will just, for the narratives in the tournament, it would just be like the dankest timeline.
And when you look at game number 1 now, the two teams that have knocked off SKT on the same day, you know, they're going to go head-to-head. We finally get to kind of piecemeal together after the first loop, like what the new power rankings will look like. And it's going to be interesting to see whether Flash Wolves or RNG come out ahead in that.
Yeah, I'm very excited to close the first round robin, open the second round robin, and see how teams react to playing others for a second time. Our coverage begins at 1:30 p.m. local time. That's 7:30 a.m. Central European Summer Time, 10:30 p.m. Thursday evening for those of you in Pacific Daylight Time. Until then, that's all from us here at the Oriental Sports Center. So from everyone covering all the action here in Shanghai, thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you right back here tomorrow for more of the 2016 Midseason Invitational. See you then.
I feel like we've been shouting this whole time.
We have, but it's just gotten quieter here. It was so loud, and now we're done.